Now joined by a WF Herman grad. Played 5 years there for the school's basketball team, and he played D1 for Mississippi Valley State University a few years ago. Now the last 2 years at St. Michael's College in Colchester, Vermont. Dario Milojevic, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for joining me, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be cool.
Yeah,
So,
anytime.
like I said, man, you're a Herman grad. Obviously, we're gonna talk about the basketball team there and system, but first and foremost, like born and raised in Windsor. Are you like a Windsor kid, or what's your story?
Yeah. Born and raised in Windsor. My parents are both Serbian, so I travel back and forth there a lot usually. But
Yeah,
no, I've been in Windsor my whole life. So
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
You never know. You could have been born anywhere, Toronto or something, moved down
Yeah.
there. But like obviously going to Herman, did you grow up around there? I'm on Aubin right now, right near.
Okay.
So
Okay.
grew up in the
Cool.
same area at least.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. I went to Davis,
Oh, okay.
Davis Public School, and
Yeah,
so I'm in the area. We're a feeder school to Herman.
yeah,
Um, at the time, I knew I wanted to play, basketball at a high school level, and I at the time I think it was Herman that was really a powerhouse, and I think CCH, and I was just closer to Herman, and my older cousin went to Herman, so I thought why not? Herman would be a good fit,
hmm
and
yeah.
so yeah,
Yeah, of course it is. And actually didn't really think of that too. I mean, I was going to ask, like, we'll talk about, growing up and stuff a little bit, but of course, you, even at that early of an age going to high school, you were thinking about basketball, I guess. Eh?
yeah. No, we at my at Davis we only had there had some issues going on. There was the teachers were on strike for a little bit, and so we only played basketball. I think my eighth grade year we had a team, but I always thought it was fun, and I thought like I never thought about college basketball, but I definitely thought like high school
Yeah.
basketball would be cool, be different, and and I was already pretty tall, so like why not use the
Yeah.
height to my advantage? So
All right. Well, that being said, then, like, did you play a lot of other sports growing up? I'm sure, there was mostly
uh
basketball.
yeah, mostly basketball.
Yeah.
They as soon as I got to Herman, they were
Oh,
trying to
yeah.
persuade me to play football right away. Um, Coach Lumley's a great coach, great guy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just didn't see it. Not that I didn't like football. I was more focused on I wanted to play basketball, and I thought uh, two sports would be fun, but I feel like it would just get in the way of what I was trying to do. And I played a little bit of volleyball, but I'm not really a fan of that. So
Yeah. I bet you they were trying to recruit you too then,
oh yeah, in the hallways and going to
Yeah.
lunch everywhere. Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, again, like Herman's obviously known for football and for basketball and CCH
yeah.
too, but just to be thinking about that stuff at that early of an age obviously shows the passion.
Mhm.
So again, joining Herman Academy had to have been a huge stepping stone in your whole trajectory, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
guess
No,
it's
of
kind of
course.
like almost like a Windsor prep school, I guess, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't. That was at the time. Yeah, it was Herman and CCH. They see my cousin, my older cousin. He went to Herman, and he was actually helping out there the senior team as a assistant coach. And so it was good because he kind of showed me and told me like how things would be beforehand, so I kind of knew what to expect like coming into play high school basketball. So I think that really helped a lot. The transfer, like the transition period from
Yeah,
the eighth grade to the ninth grade. So
yeah. Just like anything else, I mean, we'll get into it, but like every time you kind of make that jump,
yeah.
it's similar. It's basketball, but now you're going from like you're top of your class. You're the
Mm.
big kid. Now you're the littlest kid, right? So
Yeah.
again, having someone that yet alone your family, makes a
Mhm.
big difference too, right? I'm sure that made you a little
Yeah.
more comfortable.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so that's again the family thing, and you guys had some success at Herman too. I mean, first 2 years you guys won Waxa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I
Yeah,
mean
we had
that had to
a
have been a great run for you.
yeah.
Starting off with and some personal awards as well.
Mhm. Oh wow, that those 2 years were definitely we had I'm trying to think of who we had a great group of guys. My sorry, it's so different. In Canada, there'll be
Yeah,
like grade 9, grade 10. I'm so used to calling it freshman, sophomore. But
yeah.
yeah, my ninth grade, my 10th grade, we had a phenomenal team. We had a handful of guys that are playing collegiate sports. We had Marsai Caston and we had Magdi Tia and my friend Milan. All a good group of guys who have gone on to play or are still currently playing college basketball. And so, I mean, after those 2 years, everybody split off and like did their own path. But it's great to see that those guys are still doing what they love, and they're still great players, great teammates. So
yeah, and I'm sure again what you're experiencing now at the college level too. It's not like you stick around high school or college forever, obviously. So you got when you start, you're the rookies, and then those guys go on and so forth and so forth, right? So again, a lot of, like I was going to mention too, a lot of Herman alumni has gone on to get scholarships or go pro or something. So I'm sure during your time there, that was kind of instilled in the culture too, right? I'm sure they were reminding you about a lot of alumni that have gone on.
Yeah, no, they do a good job. In the hallways, you see like pictures and like articles up of people that have went D1 or people that just go on to play collegiate sports, and just like a reminder every day, like from Windsor, you don't have to go to like a top prep school, or you don't have to be in Toronto or in the US to do what you want to do. The stuff is it's out there to take. You just gotta do what you have to do to take it. So
yeah. And that's exactly why, part of the reason why I do this show, right? Of course, there's a lot of successful athletes out of Windsor, but sometimes don't get the recognition. Our sports like basketball and football, they're huge sports. But of course, in Canada, everyone's like, you get more news on the junior C teams than you do the high school other stuff, right? So that being said, I mean, I'm sure you can attest to like the basketball scene in Windsor.
The basketball scene is definitely it's getting better. It's developing, but
it's under wraps. But I mean, like we have stellar talent here, right?
Yeah, no, of course. I'm talking developing as in like recognition wise. Everywhere I've went, people don't really know where Windsor is, or like even like some other Canadians like up north don't even know where Windsor is. And so it's tough because a handful of athletes here every year will go on to play collegiate sports, and then you move further up north, you get into like Chatham and other places like that where they don't really produce athletes like that until you get to like Toronto and those bigger cities. And I mean, I feel like we don't really get the recognition that we deserve. So it's cool, man. It's cool you're doing a podcast.
Yeah, and it's cool to see you doing it too, man. There wouldn't be a podcast without people like you, right?
So, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's just again to kind of show like anyone can do it, and no matter what it is, right? Like, there's this stigma or something when it comes to sports where it's just like if you're not drafted and going here right away, it's like they're just playing whatever, right? It's like, well, you're not doing it, right? So it definitely takes a lot of grit and a lot to get to just where you are to start, right? So again, I mean, I'm sure it was a crazy road for you. Did you ever think that you would be where you are right now?
No, man, honestly. I was on the flight to my first school in Mississippi, from Detroit to Mississippi back in 2019, I think, my freshman year. And I was just on the flight, but my parents dropped me off, and I'm on the flight, and I'm just like, this is so surreal. Like I'm going to play basketball at the next level. I'm going to be by myself, and it's just like, kind of just like didn't really hit me until I got there, and there's like all these things that you got to do and you got to take care of, and it was just like, wow. If you told me this 2 years ago, I'd be like, no, you're joking. But no, it's a great feeling now that I'm in it. So
yeah, man, it's a big deal. I mean, again, I just went to Florida, and so I'm at the airport, and I see people with like whatever school on there, and people with golf clubs. So it's college students going out to Florida and I'm like, that's so fucking cool. Like that's a big time, but like like that might not make the littlest headline, but it's like, shit, man, you don't know how many people are out there doing this thing, right? So, and with all the different sports that we cover, I mean, basketball is just one. But still, it's just cool it must feel pretty big, right? Getting on the plane, going to the States.
Yeah.
How old were you? 18?
Yeah, 18, turning 19. It's just wild. It's just a surreal feeling, like I was saying. And, it's still like, you're getting older, but you're still pretty young, to be doing these things by yourself. So
Yeah, of
That's
course. I mean,
definitely
you're a man now, right? But still, like when you look back, it's like, holy shit, I did
yeah,
that, right?
yeah. No,
It's got to
it's
be pretty cool.
yeah. But
And so before we even get to Mississippi, like, how did recruitment kind of start for you? Because like you said, like you weren't really thinking about basketball, like scholarships until a certain point.
yeah,
So how did that kind of come to be for you? I guess.
yeah. So, well, first I want to say I was blessed and grateful to have a good support system. Um, a family that's very supportive, friends that are pushing me. When in your circle you have people that are trying to achieve the same goal, I feel like it kind of pushes you a little bit more, and you don't really want to like see your friends doing something and you're not, how would I explain it, like you're not pushing yourself to to get the same goal. And so I feel like that helped me out a lot, just having a good support system. But recruitment wise, like going to go back to the recognition, it was tough because we don't really get a lot of recognition down there. My teammates now that I'm with were telling me, like, we're like talking about our high school seasons, and they're talking about how coaches would come to watch from all over the place, and they just have those like connections, um, like that coaches will come to watch. I feel like in Windsor, other than like local like University of Windsor and St. Clair, will come to watch and recruit, but no one else will really, no other coaches would come to watch. So it's hard. Um, you really have to like start your recruitment by yourself and reach out to all these coaches. It's really tough. I remember with my mentor emailing, every D1 school in the US. We sent out like 400 emails to every school saying, I'd like to get an opportunity to play if you guys want to come check me out. And I was grateful enough to have my coach now. He was an assistant coach at Iona in New York, and they came to watch me. We were playing at Massey. There was a tournament, and he came out to watch me, and he gave me some good words and told me that they were interested. And that didn't work out, but still, travel basketball was a big thing, and so I was traveling a lot to Michigan. They had like good travel team programs, and so there I was noticed by Lindsey Hunter, which was my first year coach. Um, he ended up getting a job the following year after my senior year at Mississippi State, or Mississippi Valley State, and he reached out to me and told me that the offer was on the table if I wanted to come play with him. So I guess it would be more. I was noticed from travel basketball, but definitely like um, I reached out to a lot of schools via email, and schools came to watch, which like I had some other like smaller offers and local offers, but yeah, that was pretty much how that went.
Yeah.
I had to go out and take it. It was never like
Yeah.
they just came out to watch by themselves, but that's how that went for me.
That's pretty cool, man. Because it shows again that you can put yourself out there and you could get the response, right? And
Yeah,
connections are everything. Like you
no, of
mentioned,
course.
just you guys probably just met each other at the tournament or game or whatever, and then struck from there. But don't know how I forgot to mention this, but of course I wanted to ask. You're playing high school, but you mentioned you played travel as well, so you were right into everything basketball. You were playing elsewhere. It wasn't just high school and school teams,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So I was touched on that. The At the time we didn't really have any, like, we had travel programs in Windsor, Ontario. Um, but like I kind of knew like um, I didn't really want to play for a Canadian school, just because in Ontario they can't really cover everything. Like they can give you like a little bit of an athletic scholarship and maybe some academic scholarships, but I want to just remove the weight off my parents' shoulders as much as I could. So I really wanted to, play in the U.S. And it's just like you always see on the TV and the movies, like U.S. colleges are just, that's where you want to be. And
Yeah.
so, being like 5 minutes away from Detroit, Michigan, it was, I knew like right away it was weird. I'm like 16, 17 years old, and I'm reaching out to programs in the U.S. on Twitter, asking if I could play with them, and then I'm taking the tunnel bus by myself to go play with some of these teams, and it's just wild what I had to do. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm grateful I'm here, and this is where it's got me. So it had to have worked. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's crazy, man. And like the ability that we have again, I mean, the proximity to the States, but the ability that we had to go over there so easily,
mm.
and do that, it's crazy. So you were playing obviously for a team in Detroit. Was it just like the same club the whole time, or did you get moved around, or?
Yeah, so I stuck with this team called Greenwood Elite. They were
Okay, yeah.
It was split between Draymond Green and someone else in the NFL. His name, his last name was like Wood or Woodley or something like that. But they ran the program, and I saw it on Twitter and a bunch of other teams. But I reached out to them, and they're like, "All right, we'll give you a shot. Like, come out." And so I ended up sticking with them for 2 years, my junior and my senior year. And so being with them, it just everybody over there just has so many connections because it's Michigan's such a big state,
Yeah.
and there's great basketball in Michigan. So it was just great to be in the atmosphere and to make those connections because they definitely help.
Yeah, man. So at this time, just to get my head straight, so you're in high school playing high
Yeah,
school basketball, taking the tunnel bus over by yourself to
yeah,
play ball in America as well.
yeah. I was this reaching out to teams on
Yeah,
Twitter and
reaching
and,
out.
and getting picked up at the border by a coach to go play. Um, yeah, man, it's wild. That's what I was doing. I was taking the tunnel bus, and um, you gotta do what you gotta do, man. At
Oh
the end of
yeah.
the day, so.
Well, again, you
But
kind of talk about like your goals to play over there and stuff like that. And if you can do it, then why not do it, right?
yeah,
Not only for your skill, but like the way that you can get there. Like you can get there by yourself as a kid, right? So
yeah,
something else that you mentioned too, and I'm sure it's came up probably time and time again from moving teams in the States. Do you ever get that like you're from Canada kind of question? Like what?
oh man, oh man.
Every day?
Yeah, I get a lot when people notice. Like initially with my teammates when I first met them, they're like, "Oh, Canada, like what is that like?" When I was playing travel basketball, and I would tell them like, "Yo, I came here from Canada."
Yeah.
They're like, "Yo, how long is that drive? Like 6-7 hours?" I'm like, "No, it's 5-10 minutes." And every time they just think like still here in Vermont, we're up north, like next to Montreal, and it gets cold over here, like
Oh yeah.
-20. And I'll be like, dang, like it's like really cold out today. And people will be like, oh, you're from Canada, that's nothing. I'm like, oh, Windsor is cold, but it's not this cold. And so people
Yeah.
still think that Canada is just like at the top, like Antarctica or something like that.
Yeah,
But
I know. Yeah, and you can see it from where you're at.
yeah,
Right? Yeah.
yeah, no, it's
Well, hey man,
that I feared.
it's gonna be 60 degrees this weekend here in Windsor.
Oh
So I hate to
man,
rub it in, but
yeah, it's
that's
it's
the
like
thing. Yeah,
minus.
it's really not that cold here, right?
Yeah,
That's crazy, man. So, um, let's talk about Mississippi State or Valley State then, right? Because like you
yeah,
said, you had made some connections, and that's kind of how you ended up there. It's cool that again, like we've had these stories that people come and do visits and get recruited, but for
yeah.
yourself, it's like you're grinding yourself and putting yourself out there, and eventually, what you get the call, or did you reach out to them again? How did that go down?
Yeah, so um, that senior year, I was playing for Greenwood Elite, and Coach Lindsey Hunter was uh, an assistant coach or a coach at the AU team. It was called the Elite, and I played with them for a tournament once. And of course, like he's seen me play before, but I played with them once, and I had his number, and I was just always like reaching out to him because he played in the NBA for 17 years, and so just like having him, I wasn't just reaching out to him about like playing college. I was just reaching out to him about like tips and like how do I get better,
Yeah,
and he reached out to me and asked me like how my recruitment was going and if I had anything going on, and he said that he would like potentially get a job, and to just be ready if I wanted to play, he would sign me. So, and unfortunately, it was the job at Mississippi Valley State, and so I went to play with them over there for a year, and so that was a pretty good experience.
mm-hmm. So obviously, again, we talked about the connections. The connections you made through your recruitment have,
Yeah,
even brought you to where you are now.
Yeah.
Before we get like, how was Miss? Like, how was that for you for a year?
Yeah, man. It's, you know, it's like I said, starting from that first flight to get over
Yeah,
there,
yeah, we
it was
talked a
just,
bit. It had to have been scary for a kid, but
yeah, just I'm in the South. It's just it's a different environment.
uh-huh.
It's, we're more of in like a more of like on the countryside. It was great. It was hot. It was hot all year round.
Yeah,
The lowest it probably got was like 15 degrees Celsius, but just getting there was a shock. It was like a culture shock, just a transition period, I guess. And it was great. I was thankful enough to really get along with my roommate and my teammate, and it made the transition period a lot easier. Um, Knowing that my roommate's going through the same thing, it's not just I'm not the only one that's in this position, and so it helps to know that someone's there with you and someone's going through the same thing. And
yeah,
I think that really helped. And yeah, it was a great year. It was a little bit rocky. We're learning, but uh, it was a great experience to play in those atmospheres and those environments, and I think it helped a lot. So
absolutely. It's all about the experience, right? At the end of the day, I mean,
yeah.
better to say you did it and tried or whatever, right? Than
Mm.
not get the opportunity at all. And again, not to get like too far ahead, but I mean, I'm sure that throughout this journey, you haven't seen too many familiar faces, right? From home or from you're pretty like you're going to a new spot almost every time. So again, it's not like you got someone with you or something, right?
Yeah.
So again, just doing it all on your own, man.
Mm.
And then the pandemic happens. The pandemic
Oh
happens. So
yeah.
I'm sure that kind of slowed things down for you. And within all
Mm.
that, I think, within that period is when you transitioned over to St. Michael's, right? So again,
Yeah.
probably part of the whole from the beginning recruitment story, but how'd you end up over there?
Yeah. So from the beginning, he was an assistant coach at Iona, and he came out, like I said, to watch us play at Massey. And then we've always been in touch, just like daily check-ins, or not like like monthly check-ins, like, oh, how you doing, and oh, how's your season going, stuff like that.
Yep.
I'm at Mississippi, and spring break hits, and then we get a text saying that the school wouldn't continue on anymore. And so I went home for the rest of the summer, and I just had a lot of free time to myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, it was childish of me, but I was like, okay, I want to go somewhere else, start a different path, and see if I could be used more at a different school, and be more like a bigger impact. And so I reached out to my athletic director, and I wanted to enter the transfer portal. And then I reached out to Coach Eaton, which is my coach now at St. Michael's, and he said they had a scholarship spot open for me, and they'd be glad to take me. So I signed here, and there's no looking back.
Yeah, man. It's a unique thing, college sports too, right? I mean, not only are we talking about the sport that you're there to do, but this is an educational aspect too, right? So
Yeah, of course.
whatever can benefit you,
Mm.
in the best way and benefit everyone as well is the best fit, right? So
Yeah.
that's what it has to be. That's a mentality you got to take at least, right?
Mm.
And that being said, this is kind of approaching the latter half of the first like probably full normal year. Last year was probably a little bit different still with the restrictions and stuff. So now you've probably settled into this group, this spot, and again, hopefully just enjoying it.
Yeah, it's last year was definitely a special one, to say the
Yeah,
least.
yeah, unique.
So yeah.
Yeah, and studying computer science out there too, right? So is that
Yeah,
something
no.
you're kind of passionate about? Maybe have some ideas for the future, possibly, or
Yeah, I took in high school they had some electives, some computer science electives, and I did those like just for fun. And
yeah,
then turns out I really like it, and it's cool that I can do that here and do what I like to do and do what I like to play. And I don't have to worry about waking up and going to a biology class or chem class. I get to wake
yeah,
up and go to classes that I like. So
yeah.
it's solid. I really like it a lot.
Yeah, seems like the perfect fit, man. And I mean, it's too early to be, predicting what could happen in the future. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna dig into that, but obviously the game is what brought you here. It's what you're passionate about. And if I can imagine, you know, everyone's different, but maybe always want to be involved in the game in some way, right? There's a lot of things that can come of this, especially again through the college aspect of it too, right? I mean,
Yeah.
who knows what could happen in the future. So is that something that, you know, you would always like to be involved no matter what?
Yeah. Now I got to college and realized that I can do it. You know, playing professionally has always been a thought.
Exactly. Yeah.
Obviously, I'd like to focus on getting my degree first, and you know, if I can go pro, that'd be great. You know, if it's not there, then just do what I can with my degree, and the rest, yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I'd always like to be, yeah, honestly, at this point, yeah, I'd always like to be connected to basketball, though, whether it be, you know, like volunteer coaching somewhere, like a travel team, you know, on part time. But
yeah,
it's always great to be around the sport you love. So
exactly, and not to say you only do one of those things, right? You could be playing, coaching, and
yeah,
running your own business all at the same time if you really
yeah,
want
of course,
to, right? So
yeah,
the options are endless for you right now. Again, man, just a kid that grew up in Windsor, put himself out there and got himself to D1 and now D2. Like just the experience yet alone shows any kid here in Windsor, just down the road at Herman, they can do it too.
yeah.
So I really appreciate you coming on and telling your story, man. It's cool.
No, anytime. I appreciate you asking me to come on the show. So